I'm Scott Hamilton, Rockfile, back with another podcast review, this time of the season premiere of the new TV show, The Equalizer. So like a lot of people, I watched the Super Bowl, and then we stayed and watched The Equalizer, at least most of it. Now, this may sound like it's going to be a negative review, and let me start by saying, if you normally watch network TV, and you're used to network TV, and you like CBS and ABC and NBC, and you watch shows weekly on those, you will not agree with a lot of my review, because this is a fine TV show. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this TV show. But I'm going to be reviewing it from my perspective, which I am more of a movie buff than a TV show buff. I am a fan of edgier fare. I hardly watch anything on network TV and haven't in many, many years. I tend to watch things on HBO, Amazon, Netflix. I like... It doesn't have to be rated R for me to enjoy it. I have Disney movies, I have PG movies in my collection, but some of the subject matter that I like, especially when it concerns action stuff, violence and stuff like that, not much can be done on a PG or less rating, which is what a lot of TV is. You just can't do the things you can do in certain movies on TV. It's one of the reasons why I'm one of the few people not excited about this new Clarice show that's coming, because it's on CBS, and they can't get as dark as the source material requires it to be. Yes, I know Hannibal was on TV, but that was an edgy show. Don't expect Clarice to be that edgy. I just don't see that happening. But anyway, getting off topic. I watched the original show back in the day. Turns out the executive producer, Richard Lindheim, created the original show, was the executive producer on this one as well, and passed away actually in January, and so it's dedicated to him now. But so the idea, the gist of it involved the creator, so I'll give him that. But I did watch the original show. It was fine for what it was back in the day. It wasn't a long-lasting one of my favorites or anything like that. And then in 2014, Denzel Washington made an action movie out of it, and I love that movie. I've watched it several times. Matter of fact, recently rewatched it in 4K and did a review on the podcast. Both of the Equalizer films are really good. Second one, not quite as good. It gets a little messy storytelling-wise by the end of it. But I enjoyed both of them and kind of hoped that series was going to go on. This TV show is a reboot of the TV series, not so much the movies. I mean, her last name is McCall, and that's the main character's name in all of this. But it's definitely not modeled after the movies, although it's funny. One of the first scenes is in a diner type place, just like, in the movies and that kind of thing. And there were some changes to the character, obviously female. That's one huge change. But two, she is also a single mom to a teenage daughter. Now, this is where we start to get into some of my problems with the show. And now, again, if you are a normal CBS TV watcher, you probably enjoyed this. It was a fine network TV show. I'm not saying anything negative about that. If I were normally watching CSI and all the other stuff that's on network TV, this would fall right in line with it. It was fine. But again, for somebody who's a big fan of the movies, this was a letdown for me. One, she's a former CIA agent who has to use her skills, this mysterious background, which they talk about halfway through the first episode. So there's a scene where she takes out 4 or 5 villains and then goes home to verbally spar with her daughter. And I understand it's a TV show on network TV, and you have to have more than just action scenes and violence, and you have to, especially with a TV show, you're going to build a cast of characters. It's just this, we built up some great story with Denzel in the 2 movies, and we got his backstory a little bit, and why he had hung up his spurs for a while, and that kind of thing. And this, when they were talking, she meets Chris Noth, who is former CIA and kind of her handler, I guess, and they talk about old times and Istanbul or whatever, and it's just like, I don't buy any of it. It just... But again, like I said, if you're just watching a network TV show after the Super Bowl, it was just fine. So we get to the first action scene, and that's where the it's really going to prove itself to me or not. I can deal with some of the extra dramatic beats they've added to turn it into a TV show and all that kind of stuff, but if they don't pull off the action scenes, I'm out. And the action scene was horrifically badly edited. It was so choppy, so chopped up. You really couldn't see. It looked like she was making some moves, but it didn't carry. There was no clip in there longer than a second where you could, see what she was actually doing. And as I just discussed in a podcast I did the other day for The Suspect, this Korean movie I watched, which came out about the same time that John Wick did, when John Wick and Deadpool and those kind of movies changed action. Because now today, in a Netflix movie, in an Amazon movie, in a made-for-TV movie even, they're pulling the camera back and showing you a little bit more of the action instead of that quick-cut 90s stuff that we got used to with some of the martial artists, the latter-day martial artists and stuff. But from John Wick and Deadpool on, movies, TV shows, every streaming shows have all gotten better with action because it's been inspirational, and The Raid and movies like that, to sit back and let the artists do what they do. I mean, we've long argued that quick cuts in a concert or a ballet or whatever doesn't let you see the performers do what they do, and I agree with that. And the same thing in movies. If you're going to showcase somebody's martial arts talents or action credo, step back, show us the whole scene, let them do what they do, and don't edit it within an inch of its life to make it look more exciting or faster than it actually was. Do the practice, do the rehearsals. You have no idea, unless you've watched the behind the scenes, how much goes into the behind the scenes on making current action shows and movies like John Wick. Months of preparation and practicing these fight scenes so that when they put them on camera, they just look smooth as glass, and they're fast, and it's amazing. And you don't have that kind of time with TV. I get that, but you've put a leading person in who I don't know how much training she had, but it doesn't appear like she had much. She looks good. She's a good actress. She's fine in the role. Like I said, it's just, I was coming, she's going to walk in a room and she's going to size it up. She's going to take all these dudes out. And that was one of the most disappointing scenes in the whole show. Let us linger on it and watch her kick some ass. I would love to see that, but that's not what we get. So her character, Robin McCall, it is a call back to the original character, but with some changes. And it's not that the other Equalizers didn't have backstories and whatever, but this just seems a little trite, a little too much. Didn't we see this in a TV show that was on right before this? Adam Goldberg is in it. It was kind of shocking when he showed up, but he's got a connection and helps with all this stuff. And there's a few other actors that you see in other TV shows. All in all, like I said, it is a fine CBS TV show. I would be surprised if it lasts longer than a season because there wasn't much in it that differentiated itself from any of the other shows of this nature that are out there. Had the action scenes been a little bit, oh, wow, I got to rewind that and watch that action scene again, then you'd have people talking over the water cooler or whatever. But I think most people talking on Monday was like, yeah, it was okay. I think it was okay. And so I'm not dogging the thing. Again, if the bar is set at network TV, then you're probably going to enjoy this. But if your bar is set a little bit higher by streaming services and shows like, Warrior, that show, that has some incredible action scenes. And yeah, it's pretty rated R content surrounding it too. But, I don't know, if you're going to make a show called The Equalizer and you've got even Denzel Washington turning into an action badass in those movies, I just expected a little more out of Queen Latifah. But again, she acted fine. The show is fine. It's well made. It's well shot. It looks great. It's Universal Studios, CBS television series, but it didn't make my list of things I need to catch the second episode of. I'll go back and rewatch the two Equalizer movies when I'm feeling like that kind of storyline. It just didn't satisfy my Equalizer itch like I had kind of hoped it would. But again, you may enjoy it, just not my cup of tea. I'm Scott Hamilton. I'm Rockfile. The Equalizer's on CBS. I guess the second episode will be next week. To check local listings on that. TheRockfile.com is my website for sharing, caring, liking, and subscribing. Thank you so much for listening.